Everything we read about in the news, you got to be very careful, because I'll read about what happens at a gas station, right? You see it online, like, okay, kids, Morgan, you're never going to the gas station. Let me fill up your cars. And then you see something, look what happened outside of a Walmart parking lot or Target parking lot. They're waiting for them. And okay, nobody go shopping. Let me do the shopping. And so it's ridiculous because we're not trusting God. So I said, Lord, whatever you want to do, if we get down to one service, if I die here, hey, Lord, I am so thankful for where you brought me and what you brought me through. I should be dead. I should be buried in a cemetery. I shouldn't even be experiencing this, God. There's so much I did in my 20s even that I just can't believe it, that I'm so ashamed of. Lord, thank you. I just want to be thankful for wherever you put me, whatever happens at the church. If I preach it down to one service, God, I know as long as I say humble and broken, not arrogant, God, it's your take my life, whatever you want to do with it. And, because during this time, I've got a friend of mine planted a church, a mile from my house, another friend, over in another area of town I have a passion for. It's like, wow, Lord, are we going to plant another church somewhere too? And so just kind of that reality that God gets you to that spot of brokenness. Seek him no matter what's going on. Seek him no matter how you feel. Seek him regardless of the distractions and the discouragement. Seek him and you will find him. And so through all this, what I love is I never lost my way to the altar necessarily, walking away in regard to character and godly disciplines and things just the role of pastor. Every morning, putting on worship and just pressing in, God, I don't feel like it, but Lord, I'm going to seek you with all of my heart. And just that pursuit turned into a passion. And it was interesting because I'm like, even though all this is happening, I love this relationship and I'm seeking you. It's almost like, if I could explain it in terms you might understand, it was almost like God was holding me through this challenge. It's like, son, I've got you. There's some things I need you to work on. And as soon as you work on them, this load will be lifted. And then I'd say, but Lord, I have this load and it's hard for me to do these things, especially in regard to health and fasting and things. But he was just kind of waiting for me. Those who wait upon the Lord also shall renew their strength. But I truly believe this. Often we're waiting on God, but could it be that he is waiting on you? That's a biblical principle. If we had time to break that one down, if you do this, I will do this. If you do this, I will do this. If you do this. And that word seek, I've talked about this before. The word seek it's not just like, oh yeah, I look for my glasses. No, it's like looking for your lost child. That is a type of seeking that the word breaks down into in the Hebrew. It's what it means actually is I'm going to keep looking for this until I find it. So you lose your child at the mall. You're not going to try for 10, we try for 15, 20 minutes, go to the sheriff's department. We're good. We try for 20 minutes. No, it's your life. That's your life from that day forward. That's your life. So how much more the believer seeking in that context, Lord, this is my life, regardless of how I feel, regardless of the distractions and the pain, the disappointment, the bitterness, my loved one passed away, or this is happening like Job, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. And boy, that seeking gave me the strength to preach those sermons. That seeking helped me stay right on the back. Like all this stuff's going on in me, but that seeking was what kept me on the right path, what actually filled me with joy in the midst of some of this. So it was interesting. I'd have so much joy sometimes. I'm worshiping. I just didn't want to go to church. I didn't want to preach. I didn't want to pastor anymore. It's like, I don't understand the dichotomy there, but it was very interesting. And of course, looking back now, I explained this in the last podcast. Once all this happened, God said, okay, it's like a reset, basically was a reset. Okay, now I want you to go, share a lot of this with other pastors. I'm like, well, how's that going to happen? And then I get an email, speaking engagement, down Southern California. Then I get another one comes in from Ohio to a large gathering there with I don't remember exactly where, Columbus. And then another email about how God's going to use this and just and really seeing now, okay, he brought me through so I can help other people, not just pastors, anybody. You can be encouraged by any of this. He brought me through so I can help you as well in these 4 areas. I think these 4 areas are critical. I think they go together. Try 3 of them while giving into gluttony and just eating whatever you want, not much sleep, not caring about your body. It won't work. The physical affects the spiritual. What I mean by that is how I take care of my physical affects my spiritual. Even medication. If you're on certain medications that trip you up, that can affect your spiritual health. You name it. They're interwoven. I don't want to get deep into stuff that's not biblical, but if you look, biblically speaking too, the more you discipline your body, make no provision for the flesh, say no, resist Satan, flee, those choices, those physical choices lead to spiritual benefits. Because joy always follows discipline. So the more you discipline yourself, the more joy will follow. Not being legalistic, not being rigid, because we can go right into Pharisee mode, right? Like I just explained earlier. I'm not really fasting unless it's water only. Biblically speaking, when it talks about fasting, that's what it means. Actually, the Hebrew word, I did a deep word study on this before and looked at all the different references, I think 77 times in the New and the Old Testament in the different situations, except for, I think, other than Daniel. And that really wasn't a fast. That's Daniel chose not to eat of the king's delicacies. It's a great thing to do if God calls you to do it, but fasting is shutting the mouth. You shut your mouth and nothing comes in. So biblically speaking, fasting is just having water, because water is not an allurement. It doesn't entice us. It's just a necessity. So I believe you can still have water. And that's why it said Jesus hungered. He didn't thirst. He hungered. So anyway, hope that helps. Again, you've got to do that. You got to seek God regardless of what you're going through. And then you got to say, Lord, and what that did is it gave me a thankful heart. Number 2 here, I'm going to tell you, when I said, Lord, wherever you want to put me, however you want to use me, I'm good. Thankfulness came in. Thankfulness, thankful. And that the fruit of that is incredible, because what's the opposite of thankfulness? Bitter and depressed. And then the next thing was obviously fulfilling my duties as a pastor, regardless of how I felt, because God says, I've called you to do this. Now go and do it. Go and do it. I know it's tough. I know you're going through it right now. Go and do it. So, and then I got my lymph nodes were swollen a little bit. I wanted to do it for some health reasons as well, because fasting, when you get deep into it, will begin to consume those tissues that are not relevant. So anyway, that was another side note. And then of course, the fourth thing after I just said of, I'm going to do what I need to do regardless of how I feel. Men, maybe that's good for you. Be a man, be a father, be a husband, regardless of how you feel. Turn off the TV, tell the friends that are dragging you down to hit the road, Jack, don't ever come back. Focus on your spiritual disciplines and God will reward that. Even when you don't feel like it. And I'll just be honest. Most of the time, you're not going to feel like it. The fourth thing was getting that physical in check, getting those physical appetites under the discipline of the Holy Spirit.